Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you just happened to stop by. Appreciate you being here. Today I'm going to be doing politics. I'm going to be talking to my spirit guides, and I'm going to be answering your political questions that you've dropped into my community page. I really appreciate you guys doing that. And so let's get started. If you're new here, let me just arrange my screen. If you're new here, I am channeling 60% Susan, 40% spirit guides, and that changes as need be. So let's get started. Whitmeister says, will Donald ever be held accountable for violating the Logan Act with Netanyahu? You have several questions. I'm just going to break them up. I don't see him being indicted. That's the word they want to use for the Logan Act. Um, I just don't see it. I could go into reasons why, but I don't see it happening. Could he? Could Congress have a committee and investigate him for the Logan Act? Yes, that can happen. I don't see, say, like a Jack Smith or like a figure, a DOJ figure, investigating him for the Logan Act. I will say the spirit guides are saying that in the future, probably not till 2026, the Logan Act will be more. It'll have more teeth to it. It'll have more meaning. It'll be backed up by law. It'll be backed up by penalty. There it is. It'll be backed up by a bigger penalty, but there will be a whole package of presidential laws that will be passed that will, again, presidents are not immune. So it's going to be like this whole presidential law package that I do see signed into law, but not in 20. I don't think in 25. They try. There's so many things they have to do, right? I mean, we have to get voting acts passed. We have to figure out what we're going to do with the leftover Republicans, and they're still going to be stirring up the pot. There's a lot that has to happen. So the voting, the presidential act, I think it's called the Presidential Protection Act, but anyway, it's maybe not until 25, maybe 26. Okay. The and you guys can look up what the Logan Act means. The Elvis Act, with every musician he had no agreement with use their music. Now, he's going to be held accountable for that because there's swift, attainable, well, I don't know what the word is they're saying, swift and attainable lawsuits, or no, it's like endings, swift, attainable endings that can be fines, maybe results, swift, attainable results. Like the music industry is used to doing this. There's a very set standards and steps that take place so that it's like bam, 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 done. Here's your fine. You can pay this on the way out the door. Okay, so yes, I do see him held accountable. The problem is some of the musicians are like, it's not worth their money or it's not worth their time. And then other situations is like Sony Music is coming to mind. I don't know if Sony Music just doesn't want to sue Trump because they think it's going to be partisan. They think it's going to make MAGAs mad, right? So if you've ever had a business, one of the things that they tell you is don't put a political sign in front of your business, because in the old days anyway, 40% of your clientele might be this, persuasion, a voter, and 60% might be this persuasion, and you're losing either way. You're going to lose 40 or 60%. So don't put anything out there. And that way you won't make anybody mad and everybody will come into your restaurant to eat. So that's what I see with Sony and these other big music industries. Like, we're not going, you crazy? We're not going to do this. Now, in as much as the artist can, through their own contract with that music label, can sue, they will. Like Taylor Swift, like she's definitely going to do something to 45, and already Beyonce has already come after 45. So yes, I see the musicians mostly standing firm against him. But when I go into that energy, it's almost like King Kong. I'm just telling you what they're telling me. I'm not saying he's King Kong. This is just how they're describing the energy. It's like King Kong swatting at flies. So that would suggest to me that 45 doesn't care. All right, here's 50,000. Okay, here's 100,000. He doesn't care. Here's 10,000. Go away. He doesn't care. Okay, so it's not impacting him. It has to be over 100,000 for him to pay attention. Okay. Well, that's his outward bravado anyway. I mean, inwardly, the man is cheap, but outwardly, who cares, right? Um, and you know what else they just told me was his inner circle keeps these things from him. Like his accountant says, "Oh, boss, don't worry, we got them to reduce that. We're only paying $1,000. They wanted 50." When in reality, they're paying 50. They curate what he sees. He curates what he sees by only watching Fox News. They curate what he sees when he was in, I almost said prison, but when he was in court, they gave him that binder. I don't know if you guys remember this or if you even knew this, but every day in court, he had a binder. And he had one woman who was on staff who had a portable printer, and she printed out news stories that were favorable to him. And they put him in protective sheets in the binder so that he could just read favorable stories about himself while he was in court. That was supposedly to keep him from, saying an outburst and getting in more trouble. So my point is that he's going to be paying these artists. He's not even going to know he's paying them, but he is paying them. So there's that kind of thing. The last thing you said was before he flees the country. As we get closer to September, so you guys, September is D-Day, is something big and bad is going to happen to him. Mortally wounded is what I hear. Now, mortally wounded could be his reputation, it could be his mind, it could be his body. It it could be either one of those three. And it happens in September, and it does slow him down. I do feel, like here, again, that could be energy. It could be a heart attack. It could be a stroke. Absolutely. But it could also be a wound to the heart from someone. And I'm thinking of Ivanka. The only person that he really cares about besides Melania is Ivanka. Ivanka could be the one. She would be the one to mortally wound him. And I have seen that before, and I'm getting it again now. That can come in a lot of different ways. Energy is like water. It can flow around the rock. It could flow over the rock. It could make a new cut bank. It could flow out of the bank. So this energy of September for him is coming at him, and it could manifest in many different ways. In that way, when you ask, is he going to flee the country? I hear yes. I think that he wants to flee the country. I think that he thinks in his mind, he thinks I'm going to flee the country. I've talked about this a lot, about how he would like to be considered a president in exile. He's not going to be president, but he can call himself that. He can say he was run out of the country because of these terrible liberals. He's all about the victim. He's all about that type of narrative. So it fits his narrative of the victim, right? So I don't see him doing it. They just said yes, he will, but I don't know, guys. Will he successfully? Maybe no. Okay, so yes, he will try, but I don't think it's successful. But I can't guarantee that because we all have free will, and the Secret Service person watching him might decide that they want that 100,000. You know what I mean? I mean, people do crazy things for like even 20,000. It's really nuts to me. You see this all the time, even with our soldiers getting bought off for 20 or 30,000, giving secrets to different countries. Okay, so I can't promise that. It doesn't seem. The energy is really strong right now for that, because this debate is coming, his sentencing is coming, something else is coming. Everything is kind of coming to a head in September. We'll keep an eye on that. That's all I can say. Something is coming to a head in September. And would he be fleeing, right? Like he still has his passport, I think. Maybe not after the sentencing, he won't have his passport. That's another thing coming to a head, right? Like after the sentencing, if Mershon decides to go through with the sentencing, he's not going to have his passport. And then he is going to have to do something illegal. Right now, theoretically speaking, he could leave the country. But I don't think he can, because he would have already left the country if he could. I just don't think he can. Tiffany even moved her wedding to the United States from Scotland years ago, or a year and a half ago. I just don't think he can travel freely. I just don't. So, but something's coming to a head in September. And I don't know, is Mershon, I don't know if you guys asked this question, is Mershon going to charge him? I feel like yes. Mershon wants to charge him, but he's getting blocked. He's getting blocked by something. And I keep seeing a delay. When I read on this like 3 weeks ago, I saw a delay. So I think there's still a delay energy. And I think just like Cannon stepping down, we said Jack Smith is going to go around Cannon. Cannon not stepping down, that's what I said, but Cannon throwing the case out allows Jack Smith to regather the case in a new way and spin the wheel of fortune. And in that way, he's going around Judge Cannon. Okay, that was a delay. I feel like that a delay is not always the worst thing. It actually sometimes can be to our benefit. So if Mershon delays this scheduled sentencing, I think it's not a bad thing. A delay is not a bad thing. Okay, let me move on. Hi-Fi Alex says, when will Musk be brought to justice? So that's a great question, because yesterday we learned that the owner of Telegram has been arrested. Telegram, Ukraine uses Telegram. A lot of people use Telegram because it can be encrypted, I think. So you have some hope of being able to communicate on the down low. But because you can communicate on the down low, Telegram has been allegedly allowing people to do fraud on their platform, have been allegedly allowed to maybe do human trafficking, criminal things. According to different European countries, I think France is one of them, this is not allowed per their constitution. And I think they've warned Telegram and the owner, and they're like, yeah, so whatever. So he's been arrested. And if this is illegal in other countries, you better believe that what Musk has done also crosses some lines, in the sense that they're telling me privacy lines. So other countries have such more, I used to be a professional photographer, and I photograph families. And one of my very dear friends, her son married a French woman, and he moved to France and they had a family there. Well, of course, this is grandma, right? So the kids come visit. Well, I'm the photographer, so I'm taking all these pictures of these kids. And in America, the way we do it is we show our work, right? You go to a person's website and you can see their photography to see if you like their style. When you go look for a wedding photographer, you go look and see, do I like their style? Whatever. So I had put my good friend's kids as a sample on my website. And I got a phone call from France, from the mom, saying, take it down right now. It's illegal in France, and I will report you and I will press charges against you. And I was like, holy mother of God. You know what I mean? Like, look, lady, I'll take your pictures down. I don't really care, right? Like, fine, but it was no nonsense. You guys, this was a decade ago. France and other countries have very, very strong laws about privacy. Also, a lot of laws around hate speech and hate crimes. So, yeah, Musk is going to get in trouble with these other countries. Is he going to be arrested? So why are they showing me that? Oh, right. Because so they showed me this picture of the Telegram owner being arrested. And one of the countries that wanted to talk to him was Russia, because he was born in Russia, but he gave up his Russian citizenship like before he was an adult. Okay. But you better believe that Russia has been using Telegram. Well, I know I mean, the guys are like, yes, they are. I mean, we know that because Ukraine is using it for the war, Russia is using it for the war. Again, it's like an encrypted way to communicate. So why that matters is that when I went into Musk, I saw the United States now going to France and saying, we need to talk to Mr. Musk. That's why it matters. They showed me how Russia wanted to talk to the Telegram owner. Well, now Musk is under arrest and America's like, we need to talk to him. Well, guess why? Because this guy happens to be one of our main contractors with SpaceX for the space station. I mean, we are in bed with a scoundrel. And you better believe that the United States, that under the presidency of Harris Walls, that we're going to look at these things. We're going to look at our contractors, and we're actually going to stop allowing some things to be public-private partnership. That's a Republican dream, right? The Republicans want all that money. They don't want the government to spend any money within themselves. They want all the money to go to private sector so they can scoop up all that money, right? They don't want public schools to be funded by public government. They want public schools to be charter schools. They're all profit centers. Everything is a profit center to a Republican. Health is a profit center. Okay. Now, two things are happening with that. One is they're going to find out that health care is not profitable. And number two, schools are not profitable. So they're going to ditch that like they're ditching insurance. That's not profitable. We're going to let the government have that. But we have a problem because Musk is in charge of SpaceX. And what the spirit guides are saying is he knows state secrets. He has some security clearance by nature of what he does for the space station. And we may need to go to bat to get him out of jail, which is irritating. It's irritating to me. So when is he going to be brought to justice? I feel like this is going to come to a head in the next 6 months. Also with Musk, his board with Tesla is not happy with him. In as much as they could get rid of him, they would. He is ruining the brand of Tesla. He's ruining the whole thing. He's bringing it down, and they want him gone. And he's an egomaniac, blah, blah, blah. And he's no intellectual mastermind. He got Tesla from two inventors. He got SpaceX from having really good engineers. I mean, he's not a mastermind. He's a guy who knows how to find brilliant people. And he's been able to have access to money and therefore the levers of power to get the contracts. That's what he does, right? The other thing I wanted to say about Musk was, the last thing is, and this is so important, is that Musk bought Twitter with the help of the Saudis and whoever else and ruined it because they want to. Musk even said, I'm going to find this and put it on the screen, I hope. Musk said propaganda is not only putting forth news that is incorrect, but hiding news that is correct. Did you get that? He put that on X. It's not only propagating news that is not right, but it's hiding correct news, real news. This was done to take away our media. This is an attack on our media. It's the same thing that people are now waking up and talking about NPR. I've been talking about NPR for a solid year. Now people are like, wow, something's wrong with NPR. They've been attacked from the inside out. This is something to really be considered about. They are really taking over our media. That's why the spirit guide said that our media, that media was going to break apart. The spirit guides have been saying this forever, that media would be broken and that we would go to independent sources and get our media, our information from those sources. They also said the same thing about Hollywood. It's going to happen. It's going to break apart. It's going to break down. I don't know when, but it's going to break apart. It's going to break down, and you're going to see YouTube become the next Netflix. You're going to see writers and actors get together and form little companies and make little movies for YouTube, or maybe even a new streaming service that comes online, because the people will not be throttled by these big corporations or big things like Hollywood. It's about breaking down of all of these structures and disseminating. It's like they're saying you have a flower, all the seeds are in the flower. The wind blows and the seeds go everywhere. That's where we are. The wind's blown, the seeds are going everywhere. We are the seeds. Okay. But this is a threat right now. Musk is a threat in many ways. And you better believe that he is a headache in Joe Biden's head. He's a headache in Kamala Harris's head. He's a headache in our intellectual community and our intellectual, meaning spy community. He's a real problem. He's an actual real problem for us, and a lesson, because we need to not allow these people to be contractors. Period. End of story. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, Graham Crackers says, when will Bill Barr be called to account for serving as personal attorney to 45? Bill Barr, you could say a lot of things about him, but he's brilliant. The spirit guides are like, he's brilliant. He's a brilliant legal mind. He understands law. He understands law better than most lawyers do. He understands law better than most constitutional scholars do. So what has happened in the last 15 or 20 years is that these groups like the Heritage Foundation and all these groups have hired and groomed, really is the word, but hired as well, these young, bright legal minds, put them in think tanks, and then had them do nothing but focus day in, day out on the Constitution. This is how we got 45, who was able to sort of prove to us that all the things we thought were laws were simply traditions. This is how it's always been done. There's not a lot of teeth behind the Logan Act. It's an act. There's not a lot of teeth behind it. There's just not a lot of teeth behind certain things. Bill Barr knows that. He knows where the fragile, vulnerable places are in our democracy. So he walked a line. What the guides always show me is a line in the sand. Now, people like Eastman went right over the line, right? A lot of people, a lot of lawyers went right over the line. They were just caught up in hubris, the guides are saying. Bill Barr knew where the line. Pence is another one. They're saying Pence saw the line. Pence is like, no, if you cross this line, that is an actual law that you will be indicted for. Pence said, nope, I'm not crossing that line. The question is, did Bill Barr break a law? That's your question. I think he did. In as much as the RICO law, he could be caught up in a RICO law, because the RICO law is so tenuous. It's very tenuous association. Okay, it was designed to get the mafia so that you could get all these people. It's like a web, little thin webs that get people. So yes, it might be back in Georgia, because Georgia has a particularly rigorous RICO law, like a very stout RICO law. So it might be, but it has to do with a phone call or a transmission of information. It feels like a phone call, but they also want to call it a transmission of information. So it might be something going back to Telegram. It might be something like a text was sent in a Telegram sort of way where it's encrypted. but there was a communication that Bill Barr did that could connect him to the web of all of these bad actors. So there is a vulnerability. He does have I'm happy to hear that, because I read on him a year ago and I didn't see him crossing a line, but I think somebody has connected a dot now. The problem is, and I'll share with you, because the guides talked about this a year ago, right? The problem is, if we take that spider web and we turn it into a net. So now let's think of it as a net. And our net is on the bottom of the ocean. Okay, we've got this big, huge net and it's on the bottom of the ocean. And all the bad fish are swimming over the net because they don't know it's there. And then, bam, the trap is sprung. The net lifts up. It catches all the bad fish. It's exactly the same energy as Rico with a spider web. Okay, except for in this analogy, what they told me was, we can't lift the net. It's too heavy. It's too full of bad things. We can't lift it. We can't. This is where we are, you guys. We can't get all these people indicted because we don't either A, have the resources that would take thousands of hours to run down every single detail to connect Bill Barr to this person way out here, which is connected to this person who's this maybe 57 degrees from the crime. That's a lot of man and woman power. We don't have it. We don't have it. We can't do it. So that's why, Spirit is telling me anyway, that's why some of these cases have fallen apart. Because, like, for instance, go back to the Cannon case. Well, now Jack Smith is going to take that case and make it much smaller. He can't consider this other stuff because of the Supreme Court. He's going to consider this little part right here. Do you see how it's the same analogy? We couldn't lift the whole thing for whatever reason. But we can start lifting these little pockets, these little groups of people. That's what you're going to see. We're not going to get the whole thing at once. But justice has a long arm, casts a long shadow, has a long view. And it will catch up with these people. And I do think it's going to catch up with Barr, or Barr could get slippery on some kind of teak deck of some dock or boat, yacht, and fall in water. I don't know. I hope he can swim, because there's energies around this, right? These people know that they're, like, for instance, the Telegram guy, the guy that owns Telegram. Does anybody think he's going to live a long life? Does anybody think that? This man knows everything. If he doesn't know it, his engineers have access to it, because he has the servers, the database of all of those encrypted messages. Guess who wants all those, right? So these people are liabilities at some point. Once you become a liability, it's not a good place to be. Okay, let me move on. The last question you asked was, did 45 send Barr to take care of Epstein? Yes. I mean, not directly. Again, Barr is too smart. You guys, Barr is too smart. In a way, Trump is too smart. Trump knows how to do the mob thing. You have 10 people between you and that act. Can the RICO law connect you 10 connections to that? Yes, they can. But at least you got 10. And sometimes, like Barr, in this thing that I see him being connected to, it could be 50 connections away, right? And when you got 50 connections, how are you going to go to a jury and say, bear with me while I go through and draw these 50 connections to Barr? Well, they're going to be like, come on, that's a stretch, right? So the further you are away from the crime, the better. They know this. They know how to cover their tracks. They're not stupid. They are the mob. Okay. So I don't think it's a direct connection. Somebody could finger him, but I don't even know if that person is still alive. Okay, let me move on to okay, so your question is Auntied. Auntied says, we haven't heard from G.W. Bush during this campaign, and I'm wondering if there's a hidden reason for his silence. Why isn't he coming out to support Kamala Harris? Well, he hasn't been out at all. He's been on his ranch in Texas painting. He's been out very, very few times. I think that he feels, how does George Bush feel? He's another one who knows too much. He doesn't want to be involved. He still feels, the word I'm getting is he smarts, if you know what I mean. He smarts from it. It's a kind of a Texan or a country euphemism to say that I'm stung, I'm hurt. I'm still hurt. I still smart from being used in his presidency. He really does feel like he was kind of made a mockery of. He didn't realize that he was made a mockery of until he was out of the presidency. And then he felt used and he felt abused in that presidency. He felt that he really could do the job, that he really was up to the job. He had a sense of himself as being very capable, but instead he looked like a lackey. So he doesn't want anything to do with politics. He's done with politics. He's really done with it. He's done. He hates it. Number one. Number two, he knows too much. And I'm telling you right now, he knows too much, and he knows too much. So he would rather be in retirement and live a long, happy life. Okay? That's what I would say with that. He may surprise me, but I doubt it, because he doesn't feel, yeah, I don't see him feeling like it's worth putting his life on the line. Those are the words that I hear. Whatever that means. Let me move out. Okay, Robin says, from Robin E, says, SCOTUS sent Roe v. Wade back to the states. Many of the states have this on the ballot for November 5th by way of the public's collection of signatures, many more than needed. Now, several states are attempting to deprive their constituents of their rights to vote on them. What will be the outcome? Yeah, well, okay, when you ask what will be the outcome, I saw people in the streets. It is true that some red states are saying, and have said, I don't know what this is in regards to, but it might be Georgia or Mississippi, one of those states right in that area. Their governor said, we know that, or it wasn't their governor, it was like their attorney general or something, said, we know that you voted to have this happen, but we're not going to do it. It's like, okay, who's going to make them do it? Again, back to the thing where these groups have researched the Constitution, the United States Constitution, as well as the state constitutions. Is there any rule? Is there any thing anybody can do to make the states follow the will of the people? Because every state's different. Every state constitution is different. So I do see some states saying, no, we're not going to do it. I see that. I didn't even know that was going to happen, Robin E, but I see it now. They're going to say, yeah, well, nice try. We're not going to do that. I see a strongly worded reprimand statement from the president. I see threats, lawsuits. I see lawsuits. Wow. Stolen, that people say their vote, was robbed. I can't say certain things. There's going to be people in the streets. People are going to be in the streets. So what is going to happen is there's going to be this time period where people are just shocked. Like I see slack jaw, like they're just like shocked. Again, we don't know the vulnerabilities in our Constitution. We just think things are laws. We just think things are normal because we sort of gone through many centuries of just following tradition. We haven't had this problem. Well, now we do. So now we need new laws, apparently, right? But until we get those new laws, we have to deal with it. So after the people are slack-jawed, number one. Number two, lawsuits fly. Number three, if the people feel like the lawsuits are either not moving fast enough or are not successful, specifically in the way they want them to be. So there's a caveat here the spirit guides want to say is that the lawsuit was partially successful. If that's the case, that's not going to be enough. I'm telling you, you have that egregious, or yeah, whatever that word is. I think that's a word. A grievance. A grievance, you have that a grievance. Then you add one thing to that. One police brutality. One other thing against the people, and boom, it is off to the races. People are in the streets. So it creates a tinderbox. In and of itself, it might not create it. You might see protests and rallies, but if you add that to another thing, like let's say the guides want to say, let's say that the state says, no, we're not going to allow abortions, forget it. And not only are we not going to allow abortions, we're going to make women start logging their menstrual cycles. Oh my God. Let me just tell you that that state would come to a complete halt, a complete halt. Every woman in any job, I don't care what job it is, it's a woman's job, she's going to be out in the streets. So that's what I mean, right? So add that a grievance, add another grievance, boom, it's over. It's a tinderbox. That's what's going to happen. And I did see Kamala Harris being president during a lot of civil strife and unrest. This is how we probably get there, because the states start acting a fool and the state citizens start saying not only no, but hell no. Now we've got, again, the tinderbox. And at some point, even though the people are right, you might have a situation where the National Guard is called in because things are so out of control, which is exactly what I saw 4 years ago when I predicted that when the guides predicted that Kamala Harris would be president, they said she would be the law and order president. They said she would be fair, but they said she'd be the president during a time where people on the left would be in trouble and people on the right would be in trouble. So that's interesting, isn't it? Next question is from Good Karma. Will Judge Merchan actually order 45 into custody on sentencing day? I talked about this earlier. I think there's going to be a delay. Merchan wants to. Judge Merchan wants to. Again, I think between now and then, or as we get closer to that date, I see 45 again attacking his daughter. I've seen this for a while now. The energy just won't go away. It's like the closer we get to that date and the more cagey, 45 starts to feel like he's getting ready to be, in prison. He starts, like he does, acting out. He's going to start attacking the daughter. And again, it's the same. Last time I did a big reading on Merchan, I saw it. It's the same energy. Merchan is like, throw the book at him. That's what Merchan is saying. He's like, his gavel. He's like, boom. It's not pretty. The problem is there's a block. Merchan is blocked. It's like something comes and it's dark. It's like a black. I don't know if it's dark because I can't see it. I don't know if it's dark because it's behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. Or it's dark because it's not of the light. You know what I mean? It's underhanded is what the guides want to say. It's underhanded. There's an underhanded block. And it's almost like it gets taken out of Merchan's hands. But that's not guaranteed, okay? So I just can't tell you right now. I cannot tell you. All of these outside interests that have free will are trying to save 45's bacon. Everybody. So how that might manifest is a delay. Instead of sentencing on that day, there might be a delay. I don't think that's a bad thing. A delay is not a bad thing. And also, you guys, let me just say this, right? I've told you guys from the very beginning, I don't see justice here. If if justice for you is 45 going to Rikers, I don't see it. If justice for you is 45 doing hard time in a prison somewhere, I don't see it. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've always told you guys. And for me, that's not getting justice. Okay. So I'm with you. Like, I'm not getting my justice. I see him locked up in a mental facility that looks like a hotel room. He's wearing PJs. Maybe he's got, the presidential seal on it. I don't care. Sometimes I even see a window that's not even a window, but it's a TV screen. In the way off in the distance is McDonald's blinking so that he can just stare lovingly at that and know he's never going to have one. Cruel and unusual punishment? Possibly. I've also seen pictures of Hillary and Obama and different things like that adorning the room. But, that's just me and my own personal fantasy. I do see him locked up in some sort of incredibly secure facility because even if he's speaking gibberish and he doesn't know what his name is, he's still worth a lot of money. If one of our foes could somehow get him, he would be worth a lot of money because if they took him, kidnapped him, this is the second time I've said that today, to be honest with you. If someone kidnapped him, they could hold him for ransom and the United States would have to pay it. Number one. Number two, they could off him and then use that to start a war. He is a past president. We can't just be allowing people to kill past presidents, okay? So you understand how important he is? What a freaking walking time bomb he is? That if somebody were to just grab him and put a hood over his head, he would be our worst nightmare. Whether it was real or fake, it would be our worst nightmare. Okay? So we don't want him in Rikers where somebody can shank him and then Hezbollah can take credit. We don't want that because we're talking about a war now. We're talking about a war. You guys understand? Everybody understand? Everybody get on the same page about this because it's not going to work. We need to lock him up where he is safe. Nobody can get to him. No cell phone service, no internet service, no nothing. That's what needs to happen. So either that's going to happen or there is a possibility, I've already talked about it in this video, that he could abscond, he could flee, he could be kidnapped because he is a very worthy, valuable asset for so many reasons. Okay. The other thing is that he crosses over, but he's here to teach us a lesson. He's here to teach us this very valuable lesson that our Constitution has holes in it like Swiss cheese. And we need to do something about it. And do we want to maybe pass some laws about ethics in regards to our Supreme Court? And do we want to make the Logan Act actually a law that has real teeth, that really says, even if you're president, you're not immune? You're going to get rung up. You're going to get charged. You're going to go to prison. Can we make some new laws about how presidents can go to prison? A special presidential prison? So he's here to teach us a lesson. He's also here to teach us, my God, look what he's given us. He gave us Gus Walls. The man gave us Gus Walls. He gave us Tim. He gave us Kamala. He's the only one that could have done this. Okay. So in that way, he's still teaching us lessons and he's still valuable to us. So what other lessons could America learn from him? Maybe that immigrants aren't evil, that people that aren't white are wonderful people just like people that are white. Maybe that we're all the same on the inside and it's just our skin color that's different. Maybe that a black job is a president's job. Maybe he's got more to teach us, okay? So if you think about it like that, if you think about what he's given us, look at how we've all rallied behind Gus and Tim. and Kamala and hope and joy. My God. Okay. So I don't know how he's going to go out, but he's going to do so when we've learned enough of the lesson. That's what's going to happen. Let me just do one or two more questions, which the next one is, will Scott lose his Senate seat in Florida? So Scott is running against Debbie Marcuso something. Powell, I think. It's tight. Right now, I see her winning. Yeah. Things are falling apart, you guys. In September, when things start falling apart for 45, and specifically in October, they start falling apart for these entrenched MAGA Republicans. They just start falling apart. Like I'm seeing all red against Cruz. He's doing better. I've told you guys, Kamala is the tide that lifts all boats, right? Like she's raising these races. Gallego, I see him winning against Carrie Lake. I see Gloria Johnson. I still see her winning against that horrible, horrible cretin of a woman. Marsha Blackburn, something like that. Yeah, so I do see that. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go here because I'm really adamant about it. Okay, I'm super adamant about this and I just don't give a damn. Virgo Girl says, and hey, she's a Virgo. Hi, Susie. Can you tell us what happened with the ear incident? Are they going to get to the truth? Thanks so much. Look, you guys, my spirit guide said from the beginning, and literally, I think I was on video the very same day saying this, and I have not retracted it. That wasn't a bullet that hit his ear. It wasn't a shrapnel that hit his ear. It wasn't a piece of the teleprompter that hit his ear. The teleprompters are completely intact. If that guy had really been wounded, he would have had up close macro photography pictures of the wound, and we would still be seeing them. He would carry them around, on printed out things and hold them up. That's my ear. Really? Do you guys really think? I mean, come on. Nothing happened to this man's ear. Nothing. Now, does that make me a crazy conspiracy theorist? No, because you proved to me, that you can get an AR type rifle, can graze your ear, and it can heal in 2 days. As I said, I have a razor cut on my leg that took 5 days to heal. A razor cut from shaving my legs. Okay. It didn't happen. It's not a shrapnel. It's not a piece of anything. If it was a piece of something, we would be seeing the piece. It would be literally framed and hung in Mar-a-Lago. The piece of metal or plastic or whatever, wood, whatever it was, literally would be hung on the wall in a frame. Or maybe he would auction it off to the highest bidder. I don't know. But anyway, we'd know about it. So what happened? Well, I am of the firm belief, my spirit guides are of the firm belief that this was a wrestling thing. Because if you don't know this, Trump loves professional wrestling. He performed at a professional wrestling event where he, threw the guy on the ground and, did all that stuff that wrestlers do. He loves wrestling. He loves the theatrics of it. That was his first introduction into acting. Then that's when from there he went into Home Alone or whatever that movie is that he bugged the producers until he got an extra. He showed up in I think it was the Macy's thing, the Christmas, I don't know, you guys. Anyway, from there he went to The Apprentice. This guy is an actor. He comes out of every single building or every single airplane or every single anything and immediately waves to nobody. There's nobody there. It's been proven he's waving to nobody. But yet he knows the angle that the photographers are shooting, it looks like he's waving at a throng of adoring fans. He's an actor, you guys. He knows how to do this. He hit his head like that. You can see it. He went like that. He punctured a bag. There is a puncture there. There's a, a bag of fake blood. And yes, all those people are in on it. There's a reason that the local police kept saying the Secret Service is not working with us. The Secret Service is not working with us. It's all public now. Okay. Now, that's all I'm going to get into it, because I don't want to get into all the conspiracy theories, but I will just say to you that if that kid was supposed to kill somebody, I don't know if he was, but if he was, Trump is an accessory to that, right? If nothing else, he's an accessory to so many things. But I don't see him ever getting held accountable for any of this, because he's going to be gone by then. He's either going to be nutted out by then, or he's going to be up in the great McDonald's in the sky by then. Either way, he never, in my opinion, has justice against him, because, well, I mean, Spirit is arguing with me and saying there's karma, Susan. So one of the options that could happen for him is that he has a stroke and it affects his speaking, and he cannot speak. And therefore he cannot communicate. He's a communicator, really, is what he is, right? He's an orator. He's a bullshitter, right? But think about it. I can't communicate that I'm thirsty. I can't communicate that I'm hungry. I can't communicate that I'm angry. He's trapped in his body. And because he's probably going to then be very angry, he'll probably be restrained, which is further entrapment. So that would be his karma. His karma is also that his family members are not going to have any money. They're not going to have, they don't have the name recognition that they once did. Even if at all points that name recognition was sort of for sale and it wasn't real, it was at least a facade that they could pretend. Now they don't even have that, right? So the karma is that he's going to pay a price for all of this. And the karma is that we'll have a Black female president. And the karma is that we're going to overcome this MAGA. We're going to overcome this MAGA energy and become a kinder, gentler, more loving, more joyful country. We're going to choose love. We're going to choose hope. These are not the things that Trump believes in. These are not the things that his kids believe in. These are not the things that criminals believe in. Criminals believe, if you're so stupid as to go around believing in joy and hope, then I'm going to rob you, because you're going to leave your windows open and your doors unlocked. But the new joy, hope is that we protect each other, that we stand together. That if you come into my house, I am going to bop you over the head. I'm not an idiot. Just because I'm joyful doesn't mean I'm a complete stupid idiot. It doesn't mean that. That's your mistake. This is why we have a prosecutor, woman, Black woman, South Asian woman, that believes in joy and hope. She's integrating joy, hope, and I'm going to kick your butt energy. This is the new America. It's a beautiful America. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled that we are here. And Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are here because of us. Because we said we love kids like Gus Walz, that we love all different religions and all different colors and all different races and all different sexual orientations, and we don't really care. We don't really care. We're not going to be divided. We're stronger together. We're stronger and bigger than you that want to divide us. Game over. It's a new game we're starting. Okay? With that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I will do part 2 because I want to talk about Ukraine. I want to talk about states flipping. My God, states are going to flip. I think Florida, Texas, Iowa, Did somebody? Yeah, I've been talking about Iowa, and I talked about Montana, and Montana was in the news recently about something. Those kids in Missoula, Montana, I think that's a college town. Yeah, they're about to make their voices heard. Again, that question going back to, well, just because we signed all these petitions and we got it on the ballot, and then just because we actually went and did the thing, the state is going to take our voice away? No, it's not. So we have a lot more to read on. I'll be back. Take really, really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again real soon. If you're new here and you watched to the end, you really deserve all the. Let's go for ice cream. Go ahead and get yourself an ice cream, whether you're returning subscriber or a new subscriber. Help yourself out to some really good ice cream as we end the summer. Okay. Take really good care, everybody. I'll see you soon. For entertainment purposes only.